The power of your words is one of the greatest forces you have been given. And when you learn to speak your wealth with authority, everything around you begins to shift. There is a spiritual law that responds directly to the words you release. When you speak small, small results appear. When you speak fear, fear multiplies. But when you speak abundance with conviction, abundance begins to gather itself and move in your direction. Your voice is not just sound, it is a command. And when you command wealth with authority, you awaken forces that were waiting for your instruction. Every breakthrough begins with a declaration. You cannot walk into prosperity with silent lips. You cannot call money if you refuse to open your mouth. Your voice is the ignition that starts the engine of your financial destiny. When you speak boldly, you signal to the universe that you are ready for the next level. You are not begging for money, you are calling it. You are not hoping for provision, you are commanding it to appear. Wealth is attracted to the confident voice of someone who knows their authority. Authority does not mean shouting, it means speaking with certainty. It means standing in your identity, knowing that lack has no power unless you give it power. When you say, money, come to me, you are not pretending, you are activating a spiritual truth. Everything created responds to words. Doors open because of words. Opportunities unlock because of words. Wealth flows because of words. You are never powerless as long as you can speak with authority. Speaking your wealth also aligns your inner world with your outer world. When your voice declares abundance, your mind begins to believe it, your emotions begin to support it, and your actions begin to reflect it. A person who declares wealth consistently begins to move like somebody expecting increase. They think bigger, they choose differently, and they position themselves for growth. Your words reshape your identity long before your bank account reflects it. Every time you speak abundance, you break the cycle of limitation trying to hold you back. Lack wants you silent. Fear wants you quiet. Doubt wants you speechless. Authority rises in you the moment you decide that your voice is stronger than your circumstances. When you speak wealth, you are rejecting the narrative of scarcity and rewriting your financial story. Your voice becomes the pen, and your declaration becomes the script for your future. Authority also creates momentum. Once you begin speaking wealth into your life, your energy changes. You start attracting people, ideas, and opportunities that match the frequency of your words. Conversations shift, doors open, unexpected opportunities appear, not because of luck, but because you have set something in motion with your voice. Speaking wealth is not just communication, it is spiritual magnetism. Your authority must also be consistent. You cannot speak abundance once and expect permanent change. Just as seeds require constant watering, your financial declarations require repetition. When you make speaking wealth a daily habit, you reinforce your spiritual position. You train your mind to expect success, and you train your environment to respond to your voice. Consistency turns a declaration into a lifestyle, and a lifestyle into a financial reality. Authority becomes more powerful when you eliminate doubt from your words. Do not mix bold declarations with fearful whispers. Speak like someone who means it. Speak like someone who knows divine provision is real. Speak like someone who believes money is already on the way. The universe does not respond to uncertainty, it responds to clarity. Wealth does not move for confusion, it moves for conviction. As you speak your wealth with authority, you will begin to notice that your spirit becomes stronger, fear loses its grip, hesitation weakens, and confidence grows. You will feel a shift inside you, a rising boldness that makes poverty uncomfortable around you. This shift is not emotional, it is spiritual. When your inner voice becomes powerful, Your outer world begins to transform to match that power. There will come a moment when you realize that every financial breakthrough you ever received began with a word you spoke boldly. Words are seeds, and wealthy people are simply those who plant abundant seeds with unwavering authority. Every declaration of wealth you make today pushes you closer to the abundance waiting for you. When you speak with authority, you are not just calling money, you are calling your future, your identity, your inheritance, and your destiny. Urgent faith is the force that separates those who wait for miracles from those who pull miracles into their lives. When you declare, God, I need money now, you are not expressing panic. You are expressing a spiritual urgency that commands movement. Urgent faith is not passive. It is not quiet. It is a force that rises inside you and refuses to let delay have the final word. It pushes you beyond hesitation and aligns you with divine timing. Urgent faith believes that what seems impossible can still happen today, in this moment, without waiting for the perfect conditions to arrive. There are moments in your life when gentle prayers are not enough. There are seasons where you must rise with a faith that refuses to be denied. This kind of faith does not ask for permission. It does not apologize. It stands boldly and declares that supernatural intervention is not only possible, but necessary. When you speak with urgency, you break through spiritual barriers that would have taken months or years to overcome. You accelerate the process of manifestation because you step into a higher level of expectation. Urgent faith creates a spiritual vibration that heaven responds to. It carries intensity, it carries focus, it carries certainty. It is the declaration that says, I cannot stay where I am. Something must change now. This kind of faith awakens the atmosphere around you, stirring the unseen, shaking the stagnant, and activating the divine resources assigned to your breakthrough. When you speak with urgent faith, you do not only ask, you demand alignment with your destiny. Urgent faith is not emotional, it is spiritual. It is not crying in desperation, it is standing in authority. It means you understand that your situation requires immediate attention, and you choose not to delay your own blessing. It is the faith that says, my breakthrough is overdue. I am stepping into what belongs to me. This urgency electrifies your voice, strengthens your mindset, and pulls you out of the paralysis that fear tries to trap you in. When you operate in urgent faith, you stop negotiating with doubt. You stop giving time to thoughts that weaken your spirit. You stop entertaining scenarios that limit your belief. Instead, your mind becomes sharp, your declarations become powerful, and your heart becomes anchored in confidence. Urgent faith pulls all parts of your being into agreement, making you spiritually unstoppable. You begin to operate from a place of inner fire rather than external pressure. Urgent faith also triggers creative solutions. When urgency rises, your brain begins to think in ways it never has before. You start seeing opportunities you overlooked. You notice connections you ignored. You recognize possibilities you once dismissed. Urgency activates a level of focus and clarity that passive faith can never produce. It pushes you to take immediate steps that create immediate results. The moment you speak with urgent faith, you begin to shift the timeline of your miracle. What was scheduled for later begins to press forward. What was supposed to take years can manifest in hours. Heaven recognizes the language of urgency because urgency is the language of spiritual readiness. When you say, I need it now, you are declaring that you have the capacity, the willingness, and the faith to handle what is coming. Urgent faith moves you from waiting to receiving. Urgent faith is also contagious. When you embrace it, your energy shifts, your posture shifts, your presence shifts. People around you begin to sense the determination within you. You attract momentum, support, and divine connections because urgency carries power. It tells the world that you refuse to settle for average outcomes. It tells the universe that you are prepared for significant change. It tells your spirit that breakthrough is not optional, it is inevitable. Urgent faith is the expression of someone who refuses to live another day in financial limitation. It is the declaration of a person who understands that money responds to intention, energy, and boldness. When you say, "I need money now," and you say it with deep belief, you pull yourself out of the timeline of delay and into the timeline of manifestation. Urgency is the spiritual accelerator that transforms prayers into results. And when your faith is urgent, your manifestation becomes accelerated. You stop waiting for something to happen and begin calling it with force. You stir the heavens. You disturb the atmosphere. You awaken the spiritual laws that respond to courage. Urgent faith is the bridge between desperation and breakthrough, between request and manifestation, between need and abundance. It is the force that turns a simple declaration into a miraculous shift. Shifting from scarcity to abundance thinking begins with recognizing how deeply your beliefs shape your financial reality. Scarcity thinking convinces you that resources are limited, opportunities are rare, and wealth is reserved for a chosen few. It whispers that you must struggle, that you must settle, that you must accept less than what you truly desire. But abundance thinking breaks those mental chains. It opens your eyes to the truth that wealth is not a privilege, it is a possibility available to anyone who believes strongly enough to claim it. Scarcity controls people by keeping them afraid. It makes you cautious when you should be bold, small when you should be expanding, quiet when you should be speaking. It convinces you that you are always one mistake away from losing everything. But abundance thinking lifts that fear off you. It tells you that resources multiply when you move forward with confidence, that opportunities grow when you believe they exist, and that money flows easily when you release the fear of losing it. Abundance thinking teaches you to stop focusing on what you lack and start focusing on what is possible. When you shift your mind from limitation to opportunity, you begin to notice pathways, solutions, and ideas that scarcity would have blinded you to. Suddenly, you see chances to grow, ways to increase, and doors that were invisible before. What changed? Your thinking. And when your thinking changes, everything around you follows that direction. Scarcity is loud, but abundance is powerful. Scarcity screams about danger, uncertainty, and failure. But abundance quietly speaks of potential, creativity, and expansion. When you tune your mind to the frequency of abundance, you stop reacting to fear and start responding to opportunity. Your decisions become guided by faith instead of anxiety, and your actions begin to align with the future you want instead of the limitations you've experienced. Abundance thinking also transforms how you see yourself. Scarcity makes you believe you are not capable, not qualified, not worthy of wealth. But abundance thinking declares that you are more than enough, that you deserve increase, and that greatness is already inside you. When you change the way you see yourself, you automatically change the way you approach money. You stop chasing small goals and start calling in bigger blessings. One of the most powerful shifts happens when you stop seeing money as something distant and start seeing it as something responsive. Scarcity teaches you that money is hard to earn and easy to lose. Abundance teaches you that money comes to those who attract it with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Your mindset becomes the magnet. The clearer your vision, the stronger your magnet. The stronger your magnet, the faster wealth moves toward you. Abundance thinking removes the guilt that scarcity attaches to wealth. It helps you understand that wanting more is not greed, it is growth. Desiring increase is not selfish, it is alignment with the possibilities placed within you. When you stop apologizing for your dreams, you give them permission to expand. And when you give your dreams permission to expand, money begins to follow that expansion. Another transformation happens when you start viewing challenges through the lens of abundance. Scarcity sees obstacles as proof that success is impossible. Abundance sees obstacles as invitations to rise higher. Scarcity collapses under pressure. Abundance grows under pressure. When your thinking becomes abundant, setbacks no longer scare you. They activate you. They push you into solutions, breakthroughs, innovations, and strategies that scarcity would have prevented you from discovering. Abundance thinking brings gratitude into your financial journey. Gratitude is one of the purest expressions of abundance because it recognizes what is already present while expecting greater things ahead. Gratitude shifts your energy, lifts your spirit, and increases your capacity to receive more. Scarcity complains, abundance appreciates, and what you appreciate expands. When you live with gratitude, you naturally attract more to be grateful for. The shift from scarcity to abundance thinking is not a small adjustment. It is a complete transformation of your financial identity. It is the moment you stop surviving and start thriving. It is the moment you stop hoping for increase and start calling it. It is the moment you realize that wealth begins in the mind long before it appears in the bank account. Once your thinking rises to abundance, your entire life begins moving toward increased commanding opportunities to appear, begins with understanding that you are not meant to live life waiting for open doors. You are meant to create them with the authority of your voice. Too many people sit quietly, hoping something will happen, hoping someone will notice them, hoping a blessing will find them by accident. But opportunities rarely move towards silence. They respond to boldness. They respond to certainty. They respond to the person who speaks with the confidence of someone who knows increase is their birthright. When you command opportunities to appear, you are not begging life to change. You are directing it with spiritual authority. When you speak with command, you reposition yourself from passive receiver to active creator. You stop allowing circumstances to dictate your future, and you begin shaping your own pathway. Commanding opportunities means you recognize that you have been given the power to call forth what you need. Your words activate the invisible realms where doors begin to shift, people begin to move, ideas begin to form, and resources begin to arrange themselves in your favor. You are not waiting for alignment. You are causing alignment. Commanding opportunities requires clarity. You cannot call what you cannot define. When you know what you want, your voice becomes sharp, precise, and focused. You stop speaking vaguely and start declaring specifically. The universe responds to specifics. When you say, opportunity for wealth appear now, you are not speaking into emptiness. You are summoning events, connections, and breakthroughs that match your words. Clarity transforms your command into a spiritual magnet. When you command opportunities, you also break the spirit of hesitation that tries to shrink your voice. Hesitation tells you to wait. Hesitation tells you to be careful. Hesitation tells you to lower your expectations. But commanding opportunities requires boldness, and boldness weakens hesitation. When you speak with authority, fear begins to retreat. Doubt begins to loosen its grip. Your spirit rises, your confidence strengthens, and you step into a version of yourself that is capable of attracting more than you ever imagined. Commanding opportunities shifts you from wanting to expecting. Wanting is passive. Expecting is active. Wanting says, I hope something good will happen. Expecting says something good is already on the way. When you expect opportunities, you carry a different energy. You walk differently. You think differently. You attract differently. Expectation creates the environment where opportunities feel welcome. When you expect increase, increase moves toward you. Commanding opportunities also requires that you stop agreeing with limitation. Limitation tries to tell you that there are not enough opportunities, not enough connections, not enough resources. But abundance thinking knows that opportunities are unlimited and constantly forming. Your voice does not pull from a limited supply. It pulls from an infinite flow of possibilities. When you speak, opportunity comes forth. You are tapping into a realm where everything you need already exists, waiting for your command. When you command opportunities, you activate spiritual confidence. Confidence is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the understanding that you have the right to call what belongs to you. You stop viewing yourself as someone hoping to be chosen and start seeing yourself as someone chosen to create. Confidence shifts your inner posture. It aligns your thoughts, emotions, and energy with the opportunities you are calling. Confidence makes your command powerful. Commanding opportunities trains your mind to stop looking at what is missing and start looking at what is moving. Even when you do not yet see physical results, your command begins working behind the scenes. Conversations you don't know about begin to happen. Doors you didn't knock on start to open. People you've never met begin thinking about you. Commanding opportunities moves the invisible into motion, and motion eventually becomes manifestation. There is also power in repeating your command until your environment responds. You do not command once and walk away. You speak until the atmosphere begins to shift. You speak until your mindset adjusts. You speak until you feel a spiritual push within you. Repetition strengthens your authority. Every time you speak, you multiply the energy behind your words. Persistence turns a command into a force, and that force draws opportunities from every direction. Commanding opportunities is the moment you decide that life will not happen randomly. You will shape it intentionally. It is the moment you stop waiting for permission and begin declaring your path. With every command, you open a new doorway, attract a new possibility, and pull a new breakthrough into your life. Your voice becomes the most powerful tool in your financial transformation. And every opportunity you need begins rising to meet you. Every financial breakthrough begins with the decision to honor the resources already placed in your hands. Because money responds to stewardship long before it responds to increase. When a person learns to value what they currently possess, even if it seems small, they unlock the invisible door where greater provision begins to flow toward them. There is a spiritual rhythm to managing money with intention, where every choice becomes a seed that silently shapes tomorrow's harvest. When you learn to treat your finances not as a burden, but as a responsibility given to you for growth, you automatically elevate the level of abundance you are capable of handling. Many people wait for a miracle before changing their habits, but the truth is that the miracle begins the moment you start nurturing the resources you have with discipline, gratitude, and direction. It is not the amount in your hands that determines your future, it is the mindset with which you hold it. Some people with little rise to wealth because they manage every rupee as if it matters deeply, while others with plenty fall because they treat abundance casually. The difference is not luck, but stewardship. When you begin to understand that money is a seed carrying potential, you stop wasting it and start planting it. You stop letting it slip away unnoticed and start guiding it with purpose. And the moment you shift into that mindset, you are already preparing the soil for wealth to take root and multiply in ways you could not imagine. Every seed must be protected, and your finances are no different. Without boundaries, money leaks into places that do not support your future. Without direction, it wanders without bearing fruit. When you nurture a seed, you place it carefully into the ground. You water it. You guard it from anything that threatens its growth. In the same way, nurturing your finances means guarding your spending, controlling your impulses, and ensuring that every financial choice aligns with the future you desire. When you treat your money with care, you create an environment where increase becomes natural instead of accidental. Stewardship also means understanding the difference between consumption and investment. Consumption ends the moment you use something, but investment continues to work long after you let it go. People who grow financially understand that money is not meant to stay idle nor be wasted on meaningless habits. It is meant to be directed toward things that multiply it. When you nurture your finances with the wisdom to invest in growth rather than feeding temporary desires, you activate a chain reaction that keeps expanding your resources year after year. Even small investments, when guided consistently, turn into unexpected abundance because they carry within them the power of compounding increase. Nurturing money requires discipline, and discipline is a form of self-respect. When you choose not to buy what drains you, when you choose to save instead of spend impulsively, when you choose to track your income and expenses, you are teaching your future that you are ready for more. Discipline converts chaos into clarity and turns financial fear into confidence. Many people struggle because they lack discipline, not because they lack opportunity. And when you finally embrace discipline, you position yourself for the kind of wealth that flows steadily because you have proven you can manage the flow without losing yourself. There is also a spiritual dimension to nurturing finances: gratitude. Gratitude multiplies what you have because it shifts your energy, your mindset, and your expectation. When you are grateful even for small beginnings, you open the door for greater blessings to come toward you. Gratitude removes the scarcity mentality and replaces it with a mindset of abundance. When you thank God for what you have, you are telling the universe that you are ready to receive more. Gratitude attracts increase because it aligns your spirit with opportunities you might otherwise miss. Nurturing your finances means nurturing your vision as well. Money without a destination gets lost, but money connected to a clear vision accelerates your journey. When you write down your financial goals, when you visualize your increase, when you set targets for income, savings, and investments, your money begins to respond. Vision gives direction, direction gives power, and power gives momentum. When your finances are guided by a purpose larger than bills and survival, they begin to grow in ways that match the size of your dream. Every breakthrough has a testing phase, and nurturing finances means staying faithful even when the harvest is not immediate. Seeds do not sprout instantly. They require consistency, patience, and trust in the process. The same is true with money. You may not see change in the first week or even the first month, but if you keep planting, keep managing, keep protecting, and keep believing, the results will eventually appear. Nurturing finances is a long-term journey, and the ones who rise are those who remain consistent even in seasons where progress is invisible. Nurturing money also means nurturing your knowledge. Wealth grows in the hands of those who understand it. When you invest time into learning about finances, budgeting, investing, entrepreneurship, saving strategies, and income opportunities, you expand your ability to create, manage, and multiply wealth. Ignorance limits your financial capacity, but knowledge expands it. Every lesson you learn becomes another tool that strengthens your financial foundation. And the more you grow in understanding, the more opportunities appear that only knowledge can unlock. At the heart of nurturing finances is the belief that you are destined for more than survival. When you truly believe that abundance is meant for you, you begin to treat your money not with fear, but with purpose. You stop acting like someone waiting for life to change, and you start behaving like someone preparing for elevation. This shift in belief is powerful because your internal posture shapes your external reality. When you nurture your finances with expectation, faith, and intentional action, you prepare the atmosphere for increase to enter your life in ways you once thought impossible. Commitment to your financial destiny. begins with an inner decision that you will no longer live at the level of chance, but at the level of intention. Many people dream of wealth, but only those who commit to the process ever see transformation. Commitment is not a feeling, it is a choice that remains steady long after emotions fade. When you commit to a new financial reality, you anchor your life to a higher standard, refusing to return to old patterns that kept you limited. This decision creates a shift inside you, one that attracts opportunities, ideas, and pathways that were never visible before. When you commit to your financial destiny, you start carrying yourself differently. You begin to wake up with purpose instead of hesitation. You start thinking in terms of growth instead of survival. You stop asking, "Can I?" and start declaring, "I will." This internal shift becomes a magnet for possibilities because commitment sharpens your focus and multiplies your strength. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, every time you choose progress over comfort, you prove to yourself and to life that you are serious about your breakthrough. Commitment also means letting go of excuses. The moment you stop blaming your environment, your past, or your circumstances, you unlock a new level of personal power. Excuses drain energy and blind you to the doors that are already open. But when you take full ownership of your financial future, you begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You learn to work with what you have rather than waiting for perfect conditions. This sense of ownership becomes a foundation for future wealth because it makes you unstoppable in your pursuit of abundance. When you are truly committed, you stop running from challenges and start learning from them. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every delay becomes a reminder. Every obstacle becomes a stepping stone. Commitment transforms adversity into strength because you stop seeing challenges as signs of failure and start recognizing them as part of the journey. People who rise financially are not those who never fall. They are the ones who refuse to stay down. When you hold on to commitment, even in difficulty, you build resilience that money alone can never buy. Commitment has a voice, and it speaks through consistent action. You cannot say you want financial freedom and then live without structure. Discipline, claiming your breakthrough, now begins with a deep awareness that waiting has already cost you enough time, enough energy, and enough opportunities. There comes a moment when delaying your financial transformation becomes more painful than pursuing it. That moment is the doorway to change. When you decide that now is the only acceptable time to rise, you shift from hoping for abundance to actively calling it into your life. This shift is powerful because it tells your mind, your spirit, and your circumstances that you are done settling for less than what you were meant to carry. There is power in urgency, and the moment you embrace it, your entire reality begins to accelerate. Urgency pushes you to act with intention, to move with clarity, to seize opportunities instead of watching them pass by. Most people miss their breakthroughs not because they were unworthy, but because they waited too long to claim what was already meant for them. When you choose now, you align yourself with the pace of increase instead of the pace of hesitation. You become a magnet for progress because you operate with the energy of someone who refuses to waste another day. Claiming your breakthrough requires courage. And courage is most visible when you take action before you feel fully ready. Waiting for the perfect moment is a trap that keeps countless people stuck in the same financial patterns year after year. But when you step forward, even with uncertainty, you activate faith in a way that draws resources, support, and unexpected doors toward you. Courage is the spark that ignites transformation, and once lit, it refuses to go out. Each step you take builds confidence, and confidence begins to reshape your financial identity from the inside out. To claim your breakthrough now means breaking away from the patterns that kept you limited. You cannot rise financially while holding on to the habits that drained your energy and diluted your focus. Every breakthrough demands that you release something. Fear, excuses, procrastination, unhealthy spending, or even environments that choke your potential. As you let go of these weights, you become lighter, sharper, more receptive to ideas that once seemed out of reach. Growth becomes easier because you are no longer fighting against the burden of old cycles. Claiming your breakthrough also means allowing yourself to expect more from life. Expectation is the seed of manifestation. The way you see your future shapes the way your future unfolds. When you carry a mindset of low expectations, you unconsciously repel opportunities, relationships, and blessings that could elevate you. But when you choose to expect abundance, even before you see evidence of it, you begin to attract experiences that match that expectation. The universe responds to your inner posture long before it responds to your outer situation. Taking ownership of your breakthrough means refusing to wait for someone else to rescue you. It is the recognition that you are responsible for your rise, your decisions, your effort, and your growth. When you stop relying on luck or external help to change your finances, you tap into a deeper level of personal power. This ownership awakens ideas, strength, and resilience you did not know you possessed. It turns you from a passive observer into an active creator of your own financial destiny, and that shift alone can change the trajectory of your entire life. Claiming your breakthrough now means opening yourself to opportunities instead of dismissing them out of fear or doubt. Many people tell themselves they are not ready, not skilled enough, not supported enough, not lucky enough. But these are mental barriers, not real ones. Opportunities often come disguised as small steps, challenges, or unfamiliar tasks. When you train yourself to say yes, to explore, to learn, to adapt, you multiply your chances of encountering the breakthrough that was always waiting for you. Saying yes opens doors that hesitation would have left closed forever. Your breakthrough also requires persistence, because claiming it once is not enough. You must claim it every day. You must remind yourself daily that you are worthy of abundance, capable of growth, and destined for more. Persistence transforms temporary desire into long-term movement. It keeps you going when results are slow, when obstacles arise, when doubt whispers, and when fear tries to return. Persistence is the engine behind every success story, because it guarantees that your effort will continue until your breakthrough becomes visible. Claiming your breakthrough now means shifting your internal dialogue. The words you speak to yourself either elevate you or imprison you. If you constantly tell yourself that money is hard, life is unfair, or success is impossible, you create a mental reality that keeps you stuck. But when you speak words of power, possibility, and purpose, you begin to rewire your mind for abundance. Your internal language becomes your compass, guiding your thoughts, shaping your actions, and steering your life toward the outcome you desire. At the core of claiming your breakthrough now is a deep recognition that abundance responds to those who demand it with faith, urgency, and unwavering determination. When you rise with the belief that this is your moment, your season, your turning point, everything around you begins to shift in alignment with that conviction. Your decisions become bolder, your mindset becomes stronger, and your path becomes clearer, because you have chosen to claim what was always meant to be yours. There comes a moment in every person's life when the desire for change is no longer enough, and the need for transformation becomes undeniable. That moment becomes the birth of a new direction, a shift that demands action rather than intention. When you reach this point, you begin to understand that destiny is not something that simply happens to you. It is something you partner with through your choices, your focus, and your determination. This realization awakens a deeper awareness inside you, reminding you that your future does not wait for you to feel ready. It responds to the decisions you make today. The first sign that you are stepping into a new level is the rising discomfort with old habits. You begin to feel restless with patterns that once felt normal. You sense that the environment around you is too small for the dreams inside you. This discomfort is not a punishment, but a signal that you have outgrown your old level. When you honor this feeling instead of ignoring it, you create space for expansion. It becomes the push that moves you from stagnation into growth, from hesitation into movement, from survival into abundance. Every elevation requires a shift in mindset because you cannot carry old thinking into a new destiny. The limitations you once accepted must be replaced with belief, clarity, and expectation. When your mind expands, your reality follows. You begin to see possibilities where you once saw barriers. You start recognizing opportunities that you used to overlook. You understand that financial breakthrough is not only about money, it is about becoming the kind of person who can attract, handle, and multiply wealth with wisdom and purpose. Transformation also demands that you embrace responsibility for your own rise. You can no longer blame people, circumstances, or timing. You begin to recognize that the power to shape your future has always been in your hands. This realization is liberating because it breaks the chains of dependency and excuses. You stop waiting for permission, validation, or assistance. You begin to operate with the confidence of someone who knows that every step they take moves them closer to the life they desire. Responsibility transforms you from passive to powerful. Stepping into a new level requires discipline, not as a burden, but as a commitment to your future self. Discipline becomes the bridge between your intentions and your results. It guides your spending, shapes your habits, strengthens your focus, and amplifies your progress. When you embrace discipline, your life becomes organized. Your priorities become clearer, and your decisions become aligned with your financial destiny. You learn to say no to what drains you and yes to what builds you. Discipline becomes a form of self-respect. As you elevate, you must also learn the art of consistency. The greatest breakthroughs rarely come from one big effort, but from small, steady actions repeated over time. Consistency builds momentum. It transforms slow beginnings into unstoppable progress. Even on days when motivation is low, consistency keeps you moving. It ensures that your progress does not fade with distraction or discouragement. When you stay consistent, you begin to see results that once felt impossible, not because you moved quickly, but because you refused to stop. A new level demands a new environment. Not every voice can accompany you into abundance. Some relationships drain your energy, limit your thinking, or influence you toward mediocrity. Elevation forces you to evaluate who speaks into your life and who stands in your circle. Surrounding yourself with people who dream bigger, work harder, and think differently elevates your own mindset. You begin to absorb their energy, their ideas, and their ambition. Your circle becomes a reflection of your future, not your past. As you step into your next level, you begin to recognize the importance of preparation. Opportunities often arrive suddenly, and only those who are prepared can seize them. Preparation sharpens your skills, strengthens your confidence, and positions you for unexpected blessings. Whether it is learning, improving, saving, investing, or planning, preparation signals to life that you are ready for the increase you are asking for. It transforms waiting seasons into training seasons where you grow in silence before rising in visibility. A new level also requires an upgrade in emotional strength. As you grow, challenges grow too. But instead of breaking you, they refine you. You begin to develop resilience, the ability to move forward even when the path is unclear. You learn to stay focused even when circumstances shift. You learn to trust the process even when progress is slow. This emotional strength becomes part of your identity, empowering you to handle more, carry more, and achieve more without being overwhelmed. Ultimately, stepping into your new level means acknowledging that the life you want will not come to you by accident. It will come because you decided to rise, to act, to grow, to learn, and to commit at a higher level than ever before. You become someone who understands that breakthrough is not found in waiting, but in stepping forward with confidence, hunger, and readiness for everything that life is preparing to release into your hands.